a medical doctor from San Francisco of Italian background, purchased the land up on Montebello and began planting near the top of Montebello Ridge vineyards, and began the construction of a winery, and beautiful old winery. He named the winery Montebello, and it continued to produce wine up until Prohibition. His nephew reopened it in 1933 and continued there until the late 30s. This now was the end of the Depression, and there was really no market for fine wine. And so it really went out of business. It ceased to produce, and until the late 1940s, a theologian actually purchased it and reopened it. And he then sold it to the founding Ridge partners. I was reading the European novels in translation. I was reading Hemingway, the American author, and all of them talked about wine as being a part of everyday life. And I loved the idea of the community with your family or with your friends, the fact that wine takes what otherwise would be just a straight, simple meal and makes it into a ritual. And that idea really intrigued me, and was what made me desire to be involved in winemaking. And so I finally had realized that by visiting France, for example, that the great wines at, say, Chateau Latour had been made by a man that he had not really finished secondary school, and yet he had made some of the great vintages of Chateau Latour, the 45 through the 49, and the 53 and 59. And so I realized I could do the same thing, to make wine without having to have a degree in enology. I was down in Chile in South America 10 years later, running a small three-man foundation working in community development and nutrition, and realized that we wanted to get off the payroll, that I could perhaps make wine in Chile. And so we decided we would see what we could do to encourage the Chileans to export more wine, to make it a major way for Chile to earn foreign currency. They listened to us very nicely and did nothing. And so we said, we're going to have to do it ourselves and show them. Having gone to Stanford, I gave a lecture to a group of Stanford people about Chilean wine. And several of them were attending that lecture and came up to me, a year later, and said, would you consider accepting a job as winemaker at Ridge Vineyards? And so in '69, that would have been in '68, '69, I accepted the job. These men simply did not get in the way, and the wine made itself by what you might call the natural process that had been making wine for thousands of years. And they had come up with something of absolutely superb quality. And so I said, they have a vineyard that is capable of producing very great wines. And I like them personally, and they have this marvelous vineyard. I will join them.